So when you are in your Moodle course, make sure that your editing is turned on, because you have to be able to add an activity or a resource. You don't have to do anything special to get Bongo in your course. It will just automatically be there. It's part of Moodle for us. We have it integrated, so you don't have to download anything to make it work. So I recommend whichever week you want to put the recording in, or whichever topic you have. I have a junk week down here to put stuff in. So I'm going to go to week 9 and say add an activity or resource. All right. The third item down the list is Bongo. So you can select that radio button and then hit add. If you cannot see your add button at the bottom, it just means that your screen is zoomed in a little bit too much. So if you hit the control minus, it will zoom out and give you the add button if you can't see it enough on your screen for whatever.
Scroll down too, right?
Yeah, some of them, sometimes you can scroll down enough. If that works, go with the scroll. If it doesn't, that's a backup. But you can hit add. And the first page that comes up is the regular Moodle settings page. So everything here is just general settings in Moodle that happen for every activity or resource. So we're going to name it. I recommend naming it something descriptive. So if you are doing this as a recorded lecture, say recorded lecture and then whatever your topic is. If you're going to be doing a live session, say live session and then the date and time of the session. So that way it's there for the students.
I didn't realize Bongo let you do live sessions.
It does.
Wow. So we don't have to learn Zoom.
You don't have to learn Zoom. At this point, I'm even going to go out there and say I'm anti-Zoom. All right. At this point, we have Google Hangouts. It's free. You don't have to do anything special. It's easier to use. And because of COVID, they have granted us extra capabilities through July 1. So we can have as many people as we want in it, like up to 250. And it does also offer recording. So, but otherwise, you can just do everything in Bongo. It'll be up to you. But
Is there going to be another Hangout class because it was the same time as this?
there's one later, and then there's one tomorrow.
Oh, is tomorrow going on? Because
Or I guess they're both tomorrow. They're Thursday and Friday. Everything going on tomorrow is all online. But yes. So you'd have to join virtually. But they will still happen. Not here. All right. So like I said, name something descriptive. All right. The one thing that you might want to do is open up the privacy settings. And there's only one thing that you can uncheck here. It's accept grades from the tool. And you just want to uncheck that. If your grade book in here is visible to students, this will show up in the grade book unless you uncheck that box. So by unchecking the box, you're kind of just making it easier for them because they're not going to get confused. Even if you're not using the grade book might be visible to the students. And they'll say, why is my lecture in the grade book? Do I get a grade for this lecture? So if you uncheck it, it won't show up there and you don't have to worry about it. Is anybody interested in knowing if they accessed the lecture? You can't see how long they were in it, but is anybody interested in knowing if a student clicked on the lecture?
Whether it's recorded or live?
Yes. Well, live has a separate attendance feature, but so if it's recorded and you want to know if they at least clicked on the lecture, you can't say how long they watched it or anything, but you would open up this activity completion area and you would change the drop down from students can manually mark the activity as completed to show activity as complete when conditions are met. It should automatically default, so students must view this activity to complete it. So,
Activity is complete when conditions are met.
yes. So what that does is there's a report that you can get that you just access it, and if students did this, so if they clicked on it, they viewed the activity, there'll be a check mark that they did it. This setting works with everything in Moodle, and some of them have specific ones. So as you're adding things, if you want to add them to your activity completion report, it might be worth it to kind of look at that and see, but it's not necessary by any means.
It doesn't tell you how long you looked at it, just that we looked at it.
Yes. All right, so then we can go ahead and hit save and return to course. So when you do save and return to course, you should see your Bongo activity right in that week where you created it. Or if it's at the top, it'll be at the top, wherever you hit. All right, sorry, fire alarm again. So your assignment will be here. So I can see mine. It says recorded lesson, stats is fun. It has a blue B for Bongo. This link right here, so if you were to shut your editing off real quick, this is the link that students will click to access the recording. They don't have to go anywhere else, and you don't have to do anything else to give it to them. It will just be here. If you're doing a live lesson, a live lecture, same thing. This link is a one-stop shop. So if you're doing a live session, they will click this link at the time indicated. If you choose to record your live session, this will also turn into the recording link after it's done. So you don't have to do anything with it once you create it. Any questions so far?
We will have to explain that to the class, like how we have to get there.
Yeah, you should. So you should just say, like, you will go to week 9, locate the Bongo activity called this, and click on it. That's it. All right. So if you go ahead and click on the Bongo link, if you're following along creating one, click on yours now. Otherwise, you can see this screen. If this is your first time accessing Bongo, you will have other screens come up. The first one will be like a terms and conditions. Do you want to create your account? And you click OK, because Bongo is a third-party person for us. So we have separate accounts with them for everybody. So you have to say,
Click I agree.
yes, I agree. So, and then a new page will pop up that basically has a bunch of different conditions. So you have to check yes to the privacy. You have to check yes to cookies. You can leave communications off, and then you'll hit OK. I do have screenshots of all of those different screens in a document for you. So on that e-resources page here, all right, if I go back to the e-learning resources page, there's Bongo resources, and somewhere in one of these documents is all of the screens that you would normally see. So here, it's in this one right here. Let me get back to it. I think it's online lectures in a pinch, this document on that page.
So when you say create your own account, it just means accepting all of the privacy stuff.
Yes.
You don't have to go in and like set a password.
No, it's all single sign-on, so it's just saying, like, it's letting Bongo know that you've agreed to use their stuff.
So it's yes, no.
Well, you don't have to check communications if you don't want to receive emails from them, which I don't think anybody needs to. But eventually you will get to a screen that looks like this. Oh, I forgot. There's 2 other pop-up screens that are important. One is going to say class creation, and it's going to say, how do you want to create your class? New, from, template, copy class. Most people don't have a class to copy from. We don't have templates, so you're selecting new. All right, new class creation. The next question it's going to ask you is, say, do you want to do deep linking with this course? And the answer is always yes. Write that down big if you're taking notes.
What was it? Not linking?
Right, right. That would be helpful. But say yes to deep linking. Otherwise, it changes how Bongo works in Moodle, and what we're doing won't follow along with that. So always say yes to deep linking. And eventually, you will get to a screen that says new assignment or new meeting. All right, so for a recorded lecture or a live lecture, we are going to be doing new meeting. All right, and the page that comes up asks you to schedule. So if you were doing a live lecture, this is where you would put in the date and time that you're going to hold class. Remember, if you're doing live, you're supposed to do it at your regularly scheduled class times. For this time, you won't be able to enter your meeting or start your virtual lesson until this exact time. So if you have a 9 a.m. class, you should set your date and time to be 8:50. So you have that little bit of prep time beforehand to get in. All right, for us, I'm going to check the now button and say I'm ready to go on and do my lecture recording or live lecture right now. And hit save. All right.
Say,
Yes, and hit save. And it should take you to the meeting lobby page. So this is the same page that students will see if you are doing a live lecture. All right, this meeting lobby page. If you do not have a microphone at home, here are the call-in numbers. So if anybody's familiar with calling into a Zoom session, there's a number to call, and then there is a short meeting ID, and you do have to hit the pound sign afterwards. You don't have a participant ID like Zoom does. You just have to enter this one item. I do have documents that kind of let you do pre-checks for all of your microphones and cameras ahead of time to make sure that they are working properly. That's on the Bongo page with all of that documentation. But if you scroll down, you can then get to enter meeting room. So enter meeting room takes us to the virtual classroom space. And it will ask you how you would like to join the audio, microphone, or listen only. For everybody in the room, if you're following along, you'll select listen only because these don't have microphones. If you're on your own laptop, you could select microphone. I might just do listen only then because otherwise it might sound weird with everybody's stuff going. But for our purposes, I will select microphone so you can see what it looks like. It comes up with a little pop-up. And you'll hit allow, and it does an echo test. So there's my echo, and you can hit yes. It gives you little pop-ups over in the upper right corner about what's happening. So we have joined the audio conference. You should, right, if you have a microphone on your computer, yes. Right here you don't, so just check headphones here.
were computers in our offices at mics?
Not, most of the desktops do not. So you would have to do the call-in feature, but it will record the call-in as well.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's related to the privacy settings that popped up when I tried to access the Bongo that I created.
Yes.
It says that basically there were like 2 checked out originally, and then the third one is which I also need to check out in order to be able to proceed to OK and get rid of that screen, which says that basically Bongo receives and stores personal information and other data that you provide to us while using our product and services, which I don't like. So I have to mandatorily check that one out in order to proceed with Bongo.
Yes, because that's what's the information for the single sign-on. So it has to have your username
Right.
and items in order to have the single sign-on work. So it does have to have that information about you. If you go to the Bongo page on the educational technology site, here they do have information about the LMS and HIPAA compliance.
Mm-hmm.
That's there that you could read further. But yes, you do have to give them access to your account for the single sign-on process.
Okay, and the other thing is that I have to accept the use of cookies, which is fine, but I often clear my browser of cookies. So what happens if I do that?
If you clear it, it's fine. It just means that it needs to be able to use them while you're creating your videos and such. So if you clear the cookies, they're fine.
And they will ask me every time when I sign to Bongo to like accept again this and allow them the use of cookies?
No,
No. Okay.
it's just one time.
On time. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so this page, you should have, it always comes up with this white box. It's basically gives you 6 blank or 10 blank white slides that you could use to like write on or different things when you start. So at this point, we assume the 2 avenues that people are going is one kind of doing like a voiceover lecture or doing like a Q&A session. So if you are doing a voice or a voiceover PowerPoint, none of us are going to be able to hear by the end of this. But, so if you are doing a voiceover, there are 2 options for you to share your PowerPoint with people. The first option is a screen share. The second option is uploading your PowerPoint to Bongo. I recommend uploading your PowerPoint because it will allow you to annotate on your PowerPoint, and it will kind of create an interactive table of contents for all of your slides. So every time if your slides appear on the screen, the student can click a slide and it will jump to that point in the PowerPoint. So if they watch it and they go, oh, I need to jump back to this point or I need to hear something else, it makes it a little bit easier, but that's up to you. So the first thing I'm going to do is the screen share. So let's open up a PowerPoint here and say, this is the PowerPoint that I'm going to go ahead and give a lecture on. All right, I have a super nice PowerPoint here. All right, it's ready to go. I have it up and open. I will open my Bongo link and say, all right, now I'm ready to record my Bongo lecture for my PowerPoint. Down in the very bottom of the screen are 3 to 4 bubbles, depending on if you clicked microphone or call in. But the one on the far right says share your screen. So you can go ahead and click that bubble. If you are in Firefox, it will give you a little drop-down pop-up like this. If you are in Chrome, it may tell you you need to do a Chrome extension, but it gives you the link to it right there and you can add it. So if you don't like to add extensions to your browser or if that seems too much, I would stick with Firefox at this point. It says select a window or screen. I always recommend doing entire screen, mainly because for a PowerPoint, they consider the PowerPoint show a separate screen from the PowerPoint application. So if I selected PowerPoint here and then started my show, it wouldn't show the actual PowerPoint show going on because that's separate for whatever reason. So go with entire screen to be safe. It'll show you a preview of your screen and then you can click allow. If your screen share works correctly, you will have this inception moment because I'm sharing my screen in my screen, in my screen, in my screen, in my screen. So if you have this inception moment, your screen share is working correctly, and you can go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to start recording. The button is at the top of the screen. It's where it says not recording. You click the not recording button. It turns red. It's now recording. I can go to my PowerPoint. I can start my slideshow and say, all right, here's our lecture, and just go through and talk as you normally would. When you are done, you would go back to Bongo and just hit stop recording. And that's it.
Just one question there,
Yes.
very quick.
Yes.
What's going on? I mean, I missed the part when you pulled up the PowerPoint. How do you get to the PowerPoint?
Oh, you have to open up your PowerPoint using your regular PowerPoint application. So I clicked my PowerPoint button at the bottom, but yours might be over here in your window.
Oh, it's not from Moodle. I go to
Correct. It wasn't in Moodle. It was just on PowerPoint.
So in whatever folder I have my class stuff, I go there, open the PowerPoint, and then Bongo will be ready to do the voiceover.
Yes. So I start the recording. I open up the PowerPoint, start my show, and it's recording this whole time. And I go over all of my slides. And then when I'm done, I can close out the PowerPoint and stop the recording.
But how are the two connected?
Because I did the screen share. So it's recording everything on my screen.
Okay, but if I'm not I have, let's say, the PowerPoint uploaded on Moodle, and I open it in Moodle. It doesn't work that way?
It will be, as long as your screen share is started first, it will. The screen share will record everything on your screen, no matter if you're in Moodle, in Bongo, or wherever. As long as Bongo is open with the screen share on, students will see whatever is on your screen.
Oh, okay. But where do I find the screen share button?
It's down at the very bottom. There's 3 to 4 bubbles, the one on the far right.
Oh, I see. In the Bongo.
Yes, in Bongo.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Does this work for like Photoshop?
Yes. If you do the screen share.
Or asynchronous delivery?
Right. Yes. So as long as if you do the screen share, you can share anything. If you have Photoshop files, if you have websites, anything that you want to share, Excel files, if you pull it up on your screen while the screen share is happening, it's recorded. The only thing that gets kind of junky is if you're trying to play a video for your students. At this point, like in the live classroom, you'd play them a video and you might say, oh, then we'll discuss it. Here, you wouldn't necessarily record another live video. Like you wouldn't record a YouTube clip. You might say, watch this ahead of time, or you might say, check this out afterwards. But recordings of live video can be a little junky. Yes.
Can you share like Word documents?
You can share Word documents. So like if I just pulled up a Word document and did the screen share, like I said, anything that's on the screen, they will see. Yes.
If you're using Safari, will you have any kind of puffy pop-ups?
We wouldn't recommend Safari either. You would download Firefox or Chrome for the best view. Safari on cell phones does work though. So, or on iPhones, I should say, like iPhones, iPads. So like this is compatible across multiple devices and multiple browsers. So if you have students who don't have computers at home, but they have a cell phone, they can still join and watch it all on their cell phone. You can't, not all of the features. So to like join or to watch a recorded session, all devices across things. But in terms of actually creating everything, you need to have Firefox or Chrome. All right. So the other option that I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and hit this button. One of the nice things about Bongo is that whatever you use to turn it on is generally the button you also use to turn it off. So if you want to stop your screen share, you can hit that same button we used to turn it on, and it's over. The other option that I had said for PowerPoints was the upload feature. So down in the bottom left corner is a big blue plus button. If you click that plus, it gives you a little pop-up with some different options. Some of them, the top 3 are definitely important for live sessions, or like you can consider exploring them. Breakout rooms, muting everybody who's joined, or offering a poll. But for just a recorded session, or at least for the basics, we have upload a presentation. So if you click upload a presentation, you can either drag and drop your PowerPoint file into the box, or you could click browse for files and upload it that way. All right. The PowerPoint that you selected, or whatever file you selected, will appear here. It'll have a green check next to it because it's going to say that's the one we're going to display. And if you hit the start button, it will go from to be uploaded to converting the file. And then it will open back up with my presentation right on Bongo. So then I don't leave Bongo for anything else. Yes.
That probably would work for a QuickTime movie.
Not for a movie. Yes.
So
So I click browse for files, but I don't see the one we just create one.
Yeah, so like if you wanted to, you could just open up a PowerPoint one quick and it would be here. Or like if on your own computer. I don't have a generic one set up for you. I'm
No,
sorry.
but I mean. this
Yeah,
is-
so like whatever,
Oh.
yeah, like
okay.
whatever your
Okay,
PowerPoints would
gotcha,
be.
gotcha.
So you can see that it's in the screen now instead of being separate in PowerPoint. You can use the arrows at the bottom of the screen to change between slides, or you can use the drop down to select whichever slide you'd like to jump to. Like I said, one of the nice things about this is that we have annotation tools. So if we look over on the far right of the screen, we have this gray vertical bar. The top tool item, if you click on it, it will give you all sorts of different options. So there's a pencil icon. If you click on it, we now have new features. So we can change the thickness of our pencil. You can change the color of your pencil, and then you can go right on your screen. If you happen to have something that is a touch screen, like a cell phone or some regular touchscreen on like a laptop, you can actually use a stylus or a pen or your finger with this tool to kind of go through and highlight where you are on your slide. Or when I do stats problems and I'm going through, I tend to like circle lots of things in the word problem part and all the fun stuff. So there's other tools in here. There's a text tool. So if you forgot to add something to your slide, you can click on it. You can change the size of your font a little, change the color, especially if you're like, I'm not good at drawing with the thing. Put it in there and it will show up on the screen. It doesn't save it, but if you're recording, it will be part of the recording.
Okay, so for like mathematical symbols.
So if you have them typed on your screen ahead of time, it won't type mathematical symbols here because it's just basic text. But if you have the annotation tool on, you could always just go and write your own.
Right, but that gets kind of, for the live, I'm thinking of the live session, that would be kind of slow.
So
Equation editor that we.
there's not an equation editor here. PowerPoint does have the equation editor in it. So generally I'll like prompt as much of the problem as I think I can with the equation and then kind of fill in the gaps.
Okay.
Yes.
I need to share your screen. It's not allowing me to share it. And it doesn't say anything about,
Oh, you have to actually click the box.
oh. Easy. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, folks online?
I still couldn't figure out how to connect the two. So do I have to open up a PowerPoint in order to create an individual activity or a group activity or a recorded lecture? What if I just want to record the lecture on Bongo?
You don't have to have a PowerPoint. If your lecture doesn't normally require a PowerPoint,
Right.
you could just leave it on the blank slides that it starts with.
Right.
You could turn your webcam on so the students could see you.
I see.
If you're interested in turning the webcam on in Bongo, so right now everybody in Bongo, like this recording, they couldn't see my face because I didn't turn the webcam on. So those bottom 3 to 4 buttons at the bottom,
Right.
one of them is a camera.
Okay.
So if you click the camera, you can share
Right.
your camera.
But I wasn't able to open anything like that. Anything like what you have on the screen. It just basically is asking me to create an assignment.
Does it say new assignment or new meeting?
I put in new assignment.
Oh, you have to. We are in new meeting.
Oh, okay.
New assignment is lots of other fun functions of Bongo, and should we end up extended on this, I think they're worth exploring. But
Oh, I see. I clicked on the wrong thing then. Oh, I see. Okay.
so, while we're here, if you are doing, back to the annotations quick, there is a back button here. So if you were to make a mistake, you can hit the back button and undo things. There is not a redo button, so make sure you want to erase it. There is also a clear all. So I tend to write on my screen a lot. I hit the clear all button and then usually start over. Yes.
Yeah, So I was talking to a colleague, and he was at another institution. He was saying that with live sessions,
Mhm.
if they're being recorded, you have to get permissions of the students, copyright permissions, because it's now being recorded with possibly their input. Is that true?
If you're going to record a session with live students, at the beginning, I would just remind them this session is being recorded. If you have any concerns, please let me know now. And as long as nobody says anything, it's in the recording then.
Well, I wasn't planning on recording.
Yeah.
That would be a necessary thing to do, right? If you're doing a live session.
I don't think so at this point, because in terms of a lesson, it's not, what they say in class generally isn't copyrighted. So here it's still a class session, so I wouldn't argue copyright there.
But if you're not recording, then there's no problem at all.
Yeah. If you are opting for the live session, one fun feature that Bongo has is a interactive multi-user whiteboard. So as I was able to do all of like this drawing and stuff here, you can actually, so do you see how it's just a red dot right now on the screen by my mouse? If I here, let me go to my side that's not purple. Do we see the red dot? All right, down at the bottom of the annotation tools is a little window with a squiggle. If you click on it, it turns on the multi-user whiteboard. So now if I mouse over, it says my name by it. So if all of your students join, you'd be able to see all of their names as well. So you could,
What did you click to get that?
this little square button.
Oh. Multi.
Yes, so and if you don't want that on, once again, you click the same button and it turns it back off.
And you could write as much as you want.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So there's that. We didn't talk about these two buttons in the upper left corner. One is a little person. If you click on it, it will show you a list of everybody who is in your session. This is only relevant if you're doing a live session. If you're doing a recorded session, it's just going to be you the whole time. But if you were to do a live one, you'd be able to see everybody's name. If you were to click on them, it will give you different options for them. One option would be to promote to presenter. So that would give students the option to have all like this plus button down at the bottom. So if you have students at some point who are like, I really need them to do these live presentations, they can actually do their presentation here. You can make them a presenter when it's their turn. They can upload their own presentation, and then they can do their presentation. They can use the annotation tools. And when they're done, you can make whoever is the next presenter the presenter again, or you can make yourself the presenter again. So once again, that's just by clicking on their names, and then there would be an option here that says make presenter.
Okay, I have another question. I created by mistake a meeting room that starts in 23 hours, and now I cannot enter it because it will allow me only in 23 hours to enter it.
Right. So once you make a meeting, it's kind of set in stone. There is a workaround around that that's a little too complex for right now. If that happens, you would need to go to Moodle and delete your Bongo assignment and just remake the assignment. And when you get to that screen, set a new time.
Right. But when I just want to test it, I don't want to like...
You would check the now button. So like when you get to that schedule sync screen, there's a now box, so you would just check the now box.
And when I did that, my computer screen froze, and then kind of like nothing happened.
Yeah, no luck there.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
So I don't know. So I should just like do the now every time when I want to test?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of you may have noticed that there's not a specific pause button here. So if you're recording a live lecture, and you're recording, and something happens, you have to cough, you have to get a drink of water, something happens, there is no pause. However, you can just stop the recording. Stopping the recording just acts like a pause. As long as you are in the same meeting room, it only makes one video. So if you stop the recording and then start the recording again, it just is a pause.
Right.
If you're also doing live sessions, you might be interested in the settings for Bongo for the virtual classroom, which is the kebab menu, the 3 vertical dots in the upper right corner. And you'll see settings. So a couple things that are nice. One is generally if I'm doing a live session, I turn on the audio alerts and pop-up alerts for chat. So that way I kind of get a reminder if anybody does send a chat message, because I'm not necessarily staring at it the whole time. The other big thing is on this participants page, you can stop students from using these items. So if you don't want students to share their cameras, you can check that item. If you don't want them to be able to send private chat messages to each other, you can stop that by checking that item.
Under participants.
Yes.
Oh, you can lock.
Yes, so you're locking those items that you're checking.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of playing around with this. So on the left here, where I have my user list,
Mm-hmm.
I see set status, and I see there's like a hand raise.
Yes.
So if they do that, is it gonna make
So-
a noise or?
No. So the status here would be the students can set their own status just like you can. My recommendations for this, like if you're doing a live session, when you first get in, like kind of ask people to go and set their status. So like if they kind of give you like a happy, sad, confused, there's limited choices, it's kind of a good way to get a read of the room when you're first starting because you're not actually with them in the room. Another way would be to say if you have a question, instead of typing it in the chat, you can set your status to the hand raise. And so that way, when you're ready to take a break, you can go look and say, all right, you had a question, what was it? You had a question, what was it? So you can use those items as well. So there's also the chat button. So those call-in numbers at the beginning are here. If you forgot them from that enter meeting screen, you can still get to them. You can also send files through the chat. The nice thing about sending a file through the chat during the recording is that the file is part of the recording then. So if you're recording and you say, I have this extra document, assignment, whatever sheet that you want to give them and send it while the recording is happening, it will also be attached to the recording. Any questions?
Only about 100, but that's okay.
Yeah. Yes. So I will show you real quick what a recording looks like for students. So they'll go in, like I said, the join link is the same as the recording link. It'll start off being the join link if you're doing a live session. If you're doing a recording and you just click that now button, it will never be a join link really for them because it's not going to have time to be a join link because you're just going to hit now. They're not going to even know it's there. They're not going to be looking for it. But afterwards, it will turn into meeting recording. And when you click on the meeting recording, it will pull up like this. On the one side of the screen, you will have the PowerPoint. So if I click in a little bit here, and on the other side of the screen, you will have whatever was on the webcam. So this sample is actually from when we had Advocacy Day. So these were the presenters, and here were their slides. If we hit play, you'll see them go together. You can also, like I said, if your presentation is uploaded, the slides will act like a table of contents, and they can click to wherever on that slide.
I just have a question.
Yes.
So can you just go back a little bit? So once I'm actually just kind of following along and just using, like I'm not actually recording anything because I don't want anything to be up there. So can you just review one more time when I'm completely finished? So as if I clicked on the recording and then I'm finished with my slides, what is my next step to make sure that it gets uploaded?
As long as you stop the recording, that's it.
Got ya.
You don't have next steps. You don't have to hit save. You don't have to hit upload. It will automatically turn the recording into that join link area.
Okay, thank you. And then how do I get to what you're talking about right now where you could see both
So that would be the
recording.
recording. So like if we're in, so if I made this meeting, so like, and I said, all right, I'm going to do the recording now, it will be the same link. That's the nice thing about it, is it's the same link for everything. It's the same link for you to join and do the lecture. It's the same link if you're going to have a live session for the students to join, and it's the same link for the recording.
Okay.
So on the student end, this is like cake, because no matter what, you're going to say, go to this Bongo and look at this. If you're doing it live, if you're doing it recorded, either way, they have one thing to go to.
Okay, excellent. So in order for me to exit out of this, you're not there yet, right?
Not yet. You can click the kebab menu in the upper right, the 3 dots. And if you hit end meeting, it cancels the meeting and kicks everyone out. If you hit leave, it will leave like the meeting up. So if somebody else were still in it, they could probably be in it for another minute before they leave themselves.
Got ya. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Back to the recording, there is the option to watch the PowerPoint in full screen, or there is the option to watch the webcam in full screen. So if you're doing a lecture that happens to just be you on the webcam and there's nothing on the PowerPoint, they can just watch you. Or if you're just doing the PowerPoint and there's nothing on the webcam, they can just watch the webcam. Also down below, you can see here's that table of contents from an uploaded PowerPoint. There's also the chat. So if there were chat messages during this, they would be present here. And then here's that file attachment. So if you were to upload a file during the recording, it would be present here. Are there any questions or immediate that you know of? Because I know there's lots.
Screen share. Say I just pull up the PowerPoint from my Moodle page.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sharing my screen, so if my PowerPoint's up, I could just record that.
Yes.
And they'll see.
Yes. No. So if you're doing a screen share, you'll just pull your PowerPoint up, start your screen share, and whatever is on your screen, they will see.
And
Everybody only has one screen. So whatever, if you hit screen share, whatever is on your screen will be shared.
And the screen share button is in the PowerPoint?
No, it's in Bongo.
Okay, that's confusing because I still couldn't create any Bongo, anything. So I don't know where to find this screen that you are using with the Bongo, with the microphone, with, you know, like.
I think it might be beneficial if you go to the, somewhere on the Ed Tech page here. If you're on the academic continuity homepage, there's a button, schedule your personal academic continuity consult now. I think if you want to schedule one of those, we could look at your system specifically and I could see where we're going wrong.
Okay, I mean, I didn't do it, you know, consistently so far. Maybe I can figure it out, but that's what I was like wondering, you know, how to pull up that screen because, you know, when I tried to create the new meeting, it didn't allow me to create the new meeting. So once I create the new meeting, I assume that I should get to this screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the assignments are all different. So like there's interactive video. So, you know, accredited programs that need to make sure students watch things for a certain amount of time. That's more like the interactive video area. And that's an assignment in Bongo, but there's more to that than.
Well, the most important thing that I'm interested in is to be able to like do voice over my PowerPoint.
Yeah, so that would be this right here. So after we can get your meeting open, we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So the students themselves, so is there a way to test yourself whether they can hear you without looking like an idiot if they can't, right?
So the microphone button down here is pulsing every time I talk. So if it's pulsing, it's picking up your voice.
And then is there a way to know if they can see your screen?
If they can see you, like, so,
Seeing you. Say you're just doing.
All right. So if you have it off, like if I unshare the camera here, if you get the inception moment, the screen share is working. So if you get this screen inside the screen when you first start your screen share, it's definitely working. If it's not, if they're saying they can't see your screen, that means that they probably have a technical issue on their end. Also on the Bongo page, I think it's there, or it might be in the FAQ section for this class. There's a separate website where you can go just to test your microphone, and a separate website where you can go just to test your screen share, and it'll confirm for you that they're working. Yes.
So most of the students are not gonna have a phone at their desktop computers, so you wanna be instructing them to dial in.
Yeah, so they can call in.
Yeah.
Anytime. So if you're doing a live session, so like if I were to schedule my live session for tomorrow, I can get to this page now. It's just that instead of saying enter meeting room, it'll say your meeting starts in 1 day, 5 hours, and 3 minutes. So they can actually get the call-in numbers ahead of time. So they could have the call-in numbers for today for a meeting that's scheduled for tomorrow.
You could just copy and paste that, put it right in Moodle, phone number.
Yes.
Just like if you were to send a Zoom link.
Yep.
there.
Yes.
So I recorded, I ended the meeting, now when I try to go back in saying it's ended, you can't do it.
Yes, you ended the meeting, so the
Yes.
meeting is over. There's processing time.
Okay.
It is not
Okay.
immediate.
Got it.
So for anybody who is familiar with Panopto, you had to make your Panopto video and then you had to wait for it to process while it was open and things. So this still has processing time. The benefit is that you don't have to wait here with it while it processes. Yes.
So if you wanted to just take a PowerPoint, add your voice to it, and then upload it into Moodle, can you do it through Bongo without
It would still be the Bongo link would be the easiest.
the Bongo full of your presentation, record yourself, and then just let it be there?
Yes.
Needs to import into other courses. So I have an honors course.
Yes.
Honors
So
course.
the import's a little iffy. So if you would like to copy to multiple sections,
Okay.
email me and then I will go in as you and set up something special to make it easier for you.
I used to do my 5 labs.
Yeah, so if you want to copy to multiple sections, you send me an email. Here, I actually just did it I did it in Sarisha's course earlier, so I will show you. Mhm.
Comes to a question, why is that?
So if you have multiple sections of the same course, you will email me and I will set you up a thing called Workspace. And that's where you get public URLs. So you can share. If you copy the URL that Bongo has right in your course, that's connected to the single sign-on. So when you move it to a different section, it won't let the other students in because it doesn't think, it knows they're not in the section where that was made. And part of that's to support HIPAA compliance and everything like that. So it can't just be out there. You have to purposefully share it. Your students can't take it and copy it and send it out there either, because if they copy that link,
So even if you're just doing a voiceover over PowerPoint, you still don't care. You still have to be in one section to do that, basically.
yes.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can get public URLs to share. So if you had one Q&A session, like technically you're supposed to do all of your courses right at their scheduled time. But if you're going to have a live like drop-in session, you can get a public URL and share it with all of your students.
Through this, through Workspace.
Yes. So I will set up the workspace for you. It takes you to a dummy assignment. So like everything that's on the screen, this big white space, you can just ignore, but it gives you this fancy hamburger button. And then there's meetings. So when you go here, if you click on the dot, you can copy the public URL. And that will share the meeting with whomever, wherever.
And then you can just copy and paste that into all your sections in Google.
Yeah, so like I'll hit copy. It's already copied now and I can go. So if I go to,
Can you send us directions on how to do that when you email us?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
yes. For anybody who's doing live, one of the cool features here is attendance. So if you were to look at the attendance for it, it will tell you their name, how many minutes they were there, and how many times they participated in the chat. But like I said, you will send that to me and I will set the workspace up for you and the instructions to get to this specific spot.
Okay, it doesn't matter, like, we have different labs, and we have different sections. Once you send me this, I can do it for all of them, it's not specific to a course.
No. So if you're going to do like all of your labs, I can set up a workspace for each one if you want, but the meetings will be tied to a course. So like if you do all of your meetings in one of the lab sections, I can set up one workspace and then you can always copy and paste it to all of the other labs.
If you have different course numbers with two different, various different sections, would I need different URLs basically then?
You would, it depends on how, we could talk more about it after for your logistics. But anything else? We have about 4 minutes left. I think there's people for the next section.
I'm still
I'm going to ask a really dumb question. I was only